So hello everyone, Tomasz here from Frames Magazine. I'm the editor of the magazine, and I am running the entire Frames photography platform. But today we have a special conversation, pretty exciting times here at Frames, because we are about to publish our very first monographic photography book. We are all about photography on paper. We believe in this idea, and Frames has been around for a couple of years. The time has come. So it's time for the first Frames photography book. And I couldn't be now more excited to have the author of the book, Scott Olsen, with me here in the studio. Scott is a part of the Frames editorial team. And as a thank you, as a word of thank you for everything what Scott has been doing those couple of years with us here, I thought, it's a nice idea, nice gesture to offer this very first book opportunity to Scott. He is a great photographer himself, and we will be releasing a book titled Fargo Street, a book full of photographs from Fargo in North Dakota and I guess the surrounding areas. We will talk about it. Black and white images by Scott, a series of 100 photographs. Scott, nice to have you here. Exciting times, right?
It is tremendously exciting, and thank you. I am looking forward to this, not only this conversation, but the whole project.
Yeah, very, very exciting. By the way, the pre-orders on this book has already started. I will be sharing the link, under the video here in the description box. So we have the first people already ordering the books, but we thought we record this quick conversation to dive a little bit deeper, to tell you about the book, about the whole project, which Scott started, I guess, let's talk about it, a couple of years ago. Tell us about the whole idea. Fargo Street, Fargo, what are the images? Where did the idea come from?
Well, it goes back to essentially my love for street photography and photojournalism. I have always been really captivated and deeply interested in the moment and in the serendipitous, the unexpected. And that has been, for me as a viewer, really exciting, to see how people are capturing what's going on the streets. So as I started my photographic career, a lot of it was travel, a lot of it was landscape. But what do you do when you're home? Fargo, as a city, is just big enough to be really interesting as a city. It's not a small town anymore. It's not a hamlet or a little urban. It's got city vibes to it. So I started walking around. I would just go downtown, get out my camera, and go for a walk. And started seeing some stuff that was really interesting.
How long have you been living in Fargo?
Moved here in 1987. So almost 40 years.
Almost 40 years. So I can imagine you know the place quite well, right? Every corner, every little street, every bar, every bookstore, right?
I'm going to say yes and no. Fargo is going through a tremendous evolution or rejuvenation. It's changing almost every single day, which from a street photographer's point of view is exciting because you see all sorts of new stuff. But you also walk around with a sense of history. You walk around with a sense of, I know the evolution of this corner. So you see different things.
Okay, so let's talk about the photographs in the book. So you selected 100 images, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the ratio. I mean, how many of those images are in your archives, from Fargo? Now, was it a difficult process, to end up with those 100? How did you go about it?
It was not difficult, and of the 100, maybe 5 are old. What happened was I spent a long time kind of developing my chops, developing my skills. I would go and I would shoot things, and I would say, okay, this is I know what I was after. I did make it. I didn't make it. That kind of stuff. But something happened a couple of years ago, and I can't point to a date, but 2 things happened. Number one, black and white became intuitive. It became muscle memory. I wasn't thinking it. I was just doing it. And the quality of the images skyrocketed at that time. I also stumbled into the square format, which is really appealing to me. So once those two things happened, I essentially started going back out with an eye toward black and white, square. And I knew I was going to do this project. And so I just started thinking, okay, this is part of a street photography collection about Fargo. What do I need to do?
So you have been living there for 40 years, but the images in the book we are looking at are, this is modern Fargo.
Yeah. I would say there's one image in there that might be 5 years old. The rest are all since then.
And what is it, specifically about black and white that kind of, like you said, you got infected with this black and white virus, and couldn't let go. What is it about it, and how did it fit the project here? In terms of the street photography, Fargo, maybe specifically, is there something about the character of the town that based on your feelings, kind of matches black and white?
Yeah, I mean. Fargo is a small city on the North American prairie. It does not have the color of say, Copenhagen or Amsterdam or places like that, but it is rich in color. But for me, I would love to give you a grand aesthetic, philosophical statement on the importance of black and white. And I will. I mean, I shoot in RAW, so everything actually is in color when I begin. I will occasionally put out a color picture because color's part of the subject. I mean, it would be a disservice to turn something into black and white. But there's something essential. There's something clearer about black and white for me. Yes, I can say it's timeless. Yes, I can say it's more, to the essential nature of something. It's what I am photographing is less of a place and more of a mood or an idea or a sensibility. And black and white is elegant for getting right to the heart of something.
Mm-hmm. And so when we started, considering the idea of the book, then went through the entire process, remember, choosing the paper and so on. Mm-hmm. The book will be printed on a beautiful, elegant, kind of semi-glossy, semi-matte paper, very elegant choice, very elegant, right, sort of paper. Mm-hmm. When you saw your images on the paper, did they come to life in a different way? When looking, were you expecting those results? When converting them from the monitor screen, the camera, digital files onto paper.
It's a little bit, like tasting an extraordinary food for the first moment. You think you're expecting it. You think you know what you're going to get. And then you taste it and you think, oh, my Lord, this is much more special than I thought. I mean, you are the genius of printing. You are the one that with Frames Magazine has set a standard of quality that surpasses my imagination. So the answer is both yes and no. I expected something. What I actually saw just rocked my socks off. It was so much better. And a photo book, I mean, people need, they know this, but you got to really think this. A photo book is completely different than a gallery, than a screen or whatever. And the experience of an image in a book is as different as night and day sometimes. To have that kind of understanding that you've got, that Frames has, about what photography on paper can and should be, is really sweet.
And in terms of working, on a project like this, because you are presenting a particular, very well thought through, designed project. It's Fargo Street, images from one place, black and white photography, street photography. How or did it in any way influence the way you were approaching the, your photo walks, your photographing, when already from some moment at least thinking about creating those images for a book?
Yes.
Was this thought already in your head when when holding the camera and walking the streets?
Oh, absolutely. But not at first. I started walking around, I started taking images, and I was thinking, okay, this is cute. Then you get a bunch together, and you think, maybe this is a polite gallery show, or put it up somewhere. And then you get more and more, and you start thinking, I have weight here, I have size here. And a lot of people will go out and they'll put out a little zine or something like that, which is another wonderful, wonderful way to get prints in people's hands. But I knew I wanted to do a book. Because Fargo is ready for a street photography photo book. It's big enough, it's dynamic enough. So once I had that goal in mind, and it's like a writer sitting down to write a novel. You might be working on page 5, but there's going to be 605 down there. Yeah. Once I knew I was working on a book, frankly, it upped my sense of responsibility. Okay, what am I saying in the series about Fargo? What is my attitude, and how is that being expressed?
Well, I couldn't be more happy. I have seen the samples, the sample pages and so on. Probably one of the first, if not the very first, photography book, devoted to this town of Fargo. So I imagine it's a very special moment, not only for the Fargo community, the area, the state, and so on and so forth. But of course, for the entire photography community, we will be shipping the book wherever you want. You might be in China or in Australia or New Zealand or in Africa. You can order the book. Scott, wishing you all the very best. With the reach, with the success of this book.
Well, thank you.
I am of course very involved here, so I'm also very excited about it. The book is going to the printers. In the next 2-3 weeks will be being printed. The pre-order page, you will find the link below here in the description. Well, congratulations once more, and now let's spread the word, and
we should emphasize, street photography is not. A book about New York City street photography plays well in South Carolina, Arizona, Sri Lanka. It doesn't matter. New York has a kind of iconic value, as does Paris, London, whatever. And people might be thinking, why would I want a street photography book about Fargo, North Dakota? I've never been there. I'm not planning on going there. Think about the genre. Street photography is a way to unpack humanity that can be applied anywhere. So I'm hoping people that think, what's the Fargo, will also be interested in this book, because it's showing something, I think, essential. No, and thank you. This. I'm really excited about that.
Well, and I wanted to add, and I wanted actually to interrupt you, because absolutely, I have several books, photography books on my shelf, about places I have never heard about in my life, little villages, little towns. But those kind of books, when done very well, are about exactly something completely else, very, very general, very kind of, human related, about the conditions, the places, about. But of course, also about photographer's eye, which in your case, there is no question about it. I'm so happy, and I can't wait, to hold a copy in my hands.
You and me both.
Thank you so much once more, Scott. Exciting time.
Thank you, Tomas. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.